Good day and welcome to another edition of Insightful Moments. I am Jare Tiamiyu. I will continue our political discussion, especially in as regards the 2026 governorship election in Osun State. You remember how we have been discussing with different tendencies across our party lines. Today, we'll be speaking with a member of AAC, African Action Congress, AAC, and also I will be speaking with somebody who was a candidate of PRP in the last governorship election that we had in Osun State. I will be joined today by Engineer Busuyi Ayowole. Engineer Ayowole, how are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. It's nice joining you. Engineer Ayowole, let me start from this angle. After our last episode, you came out against the former senator, who represented Osun East, a former deputy governor, and also a former national secretary of the All Progressives Congress, who is an aspirant under the party, under the APC. I'm talking about Senator Omisore. Doing in your open letter, you said he's not an engineer. I want to ask, how sure are you that Senator Omisore is not an engineer? Because I can show you that he has been referred to as an engineer by even NSC, Nigerian Society of Engineers. He was even given an assignment recently. How sure are you that he is not an engineer?
Yeah, I am perfectly sure he's not an engineer, and despite the fact that he has, obviously, he has made some contribution to engineering in Nigeria, but that is not what qualifies you to be an engineer. Um, the term engineer is not something you should apportion to someone carelessly, no matter their social status, because it takes a lot to earn that status. Status of a professional engineer. And in different parts of the world, there is a way you identify engineers. But I think Nigeria is quite explicit about it, because probably it's only Nigeria where you have that title engineer in the whole world, like ENGR. It's only Nigeria, and it's something unique. And before you can be called an engineer in Nigeria, according to the constitution of the country, there are certain requirements you are supposed to fulfill, and I'm quite sure Senator Omisore does not possess those qualifications.
What are the qualifications, if I may ask you? Being an engineer means that after you graduated from a tertiary institution, then you enroll for current examination, and after you pass the current examination, you are automatically an engineer. That is the knowledge that everybody has. What are the qualifications that you are talking about?
Um, Let me start by saying, for the fact that current qualifies you as an engineer does not mean maybe you are one of the most competent technical people in the world. Because there's a lot of things wrong with our educational system, and anyone can find a way to become an engineer. But according to the rules, you must have graduated from an engineering degree in Nigeria, an accredited engineering program, or you might have probably also gone through some routes, maybe as someone who got an engineering qualification from a polytechnic, get a postgraduate diploma and all of those things. There are routes you must have worked for at least 4 years, and then Koren does not really administer an exam. So what happens is this: there is a cooperation between the Nigerian Society of Engineers and Koren. So the Nigerian Society of Engineers has different categories of membership, ranging from student members, then graduate members. After graduate members, then you have corporate members. So student members are undergraduates in engineering programs who sometimes places like UI they have induction, and some of them think they are already an engineer because they inducted them into the student categories of the association, but they are not engineers. But I mean, they help them to like start molding their career by doing such induction in a place like UI. I don't think it's all the university that the induction is done for student members. Then graduate members, that's where uh, you start aspiring to be a corporate engineer, like a professional engineer. So when you finish from an engineering program and you don't yet have the 4 years, required work experience, then you become a corporate member if you like. It's not become a graduate member if you like. I mean, you don't have to be. You might just wait and get your experience. Then after 4 years, then an exam, and then both written and oral is conducted. So if you pass, then you get the title member Nigerian Society of Engineers. That's what you see in front of some people's name, like myself. You have MNSE, and then after some time, you can apply to become a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. And that's where you have FNSC in front of some people's name. But people like Senator Omisore, they have FNSC, and I can tell you for free that it's honorary. Even the late General Muhammadu Buhari, who was never an engineer, was awarded FNSC. So that engineer Omisore writes FNSC after his name does not make him an engineer. Now, when you have MNSC, then you apply to Koren that you want to be a licensed engineer. And then that is why when you get a stamp, then you can authorize designs, and then you take responsibility for it if anything goes wrong. So by the time Koren believes you are qualified to be a licensed engineer, you just submit some paperwork. I mean, they trust the Nigerian Society of Engineers. So once you have the certificate of qualification from the Nigerian Society of Engineers that makes you become an MNSC, a corporate engineer, then Koren will look at other paperwork. They might ask you to submit some designs, some technical papers, and all of that. And that is when Koren believes that you are qualified to be licensed, then that is when you become a registered engineer in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that is when you can bear the title engineer, that you can have ENGR before your name. And I have never seen anywhere Senator Omisore himself has addressed himself an engineer. Like he should just write a letter probably to an office in Nigeria and write ENGR, then it might be legal because he is not an engineer. And then I see certified engineer in front of his name in some places. Probably
Yes.
because he's
That's what I wanted to tell you, that he has some degrees
probably
in engineering, and then
it can be
even
ways.
within and outside Nigeria, like Brunel University and some other international school. In fact, he studied at the International School of Management in Paris, where he had infrastructural, PhD in infrastructural finance and some other things.
Right.
He's a fellow of Institute of Mechanical Engineers, even in Wales and England.
So regarding that, you can probably become a chartered engineer through different routes. But I doubt.
So he is a chartered engineer now.
Yeah, that's
is that
what
you
I'm
are
saying.
saying?
There's nothing like chartered engineer in Nigeria. The term chartered engineer, CENG, is used in the UK by the Institution of Mechanical Engineers. So that's IMECE. So there are three categories of people who are like qualified by the body. We have engineering tech, we have incorporated engineers, that's IENG. Then we have chartered engineers, right? And for you to be a chartered engineer in the UK, you need a master's degree in engineering. And I've not seen anywhere where Senator Omisore has a master's degree in engineering. Nevertheless, he can still be a chartered engineer. Of course, I still doubt it that he's a chartered engineer. And even if he's chartered engineer in the UK, that does not make him an engineer in Nigeria, because it's just a title. Like, for you to be a chartered engineer in the UK, you could have started as engineering tech. They use ENGTECH. That's like people who finished OND, and they have been working on engineering projects. And then after some time, they might graduate. They might write application that they don't have a first degree, they don't have a master's degree, but they want to go to IENG. IENG, Incorporated Engineer in the UK, is when you have a first degree in an engineering program. So from NTech, probably that's where Senator Omisore started from, but I don't have a proof, and I doubt it. NTech probably graduated to IENG, then graduated to CENG, but that does not make him an engineer in Nigeria. Then
so that doesn't make him an engineer.
No. He uses fellow institution of mechanical engineers, that's in the UK. You can apply directly to be a fellow without being a chartered engineer in the UK.
Okay.
If you are a chartered engineer in the UK, right, you can apply to be a fellow institution of mechanical engineers. But even if you are not a chartered engineer, you can still apply in the UK to be fellow. And that you are a fellow institution of mechanical engineers in the UK, that they award that to you, does not mean that you are an engineer. It's only based on how influential you have been in the engineering community. Then they can give you. It doesn't make you an engineer. Probably you've been a manager in a company, and then you've gained some experience by the virtue of working with some engineers, right? And that does not mean you can sign against designs. You can't stamp a design. That's what makes you an engineer.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I doubt. Okay.
So
please, if I may ask you now, sorry if I may button.
All right.
If I may ask you now, why are you bringing this thing up? Is it because Senator Omisore is aspiring to be the next governor of the state?
Yes, because we need to start teaching the next generation how to be honest. So if Senator Omisore is not coming out to ascertain, to tell people that he is an engineer, if they just put it in graphic design, they just put it in Wikipedia and all of that, if he has not come to the public, if he doesn't write a letter and put it there that he's an engineer and he's just being dodgy, right? That is not a good way to set. That's not a way to set examples for the upcoming generation. I mean, to be tricky, so that people can call you what you are not. So I believe we need to be honest, and we need to stop all of the dishonesty that all of these old politicians have been engaging in over the decades, and we need to start doing things differently, and we need to avoid deceit, because I looked up the profile of Senator Omisore. There is nothing related to engineering. I mean, activities related to, in his profile that can let you be sure that he's an engineer. And he has never come in public, has never come to the TV station or radio station to call himself an engineer. So people should stop playing games. They should stop doing some aggrandizement. I mean, I hope I pronounce that well. Like, you don't call yourself what you are not, just for you to win political office.
What you don't. No. Okay. All right. And let me now ask you, are you also aspiring to take any political position in any time soon?
Oh, well, I want to be governor, right? And right now, we are doing what you call environmental scanning because the problem is,
Environmental scanning.
yes, like we are studying the demographics. Um, you know,
Okay, okay.
they call it structure that if you don't have political structures, then you can't win election. So we are being scientific in our approach,
Mm.
and in the course of doing our research, that is when we found out that we know who is a threat and who is not a threat. And in the process of doing our research, that's when we discovered that someone like engineer, sorry, you see, I'm starting to call him an engineer, Senator Omisore. Those are the people who, if we allow them to run, if we don't expose their dishonesty, they are like threats, not only to governance, but to the future of the upcoming generation. So we are doing a lot of grassroots research right now, and uh, at the right time, if we want to run, we would announce. But at the moment, um, we have not concluded. But I've always had an ambition to be governor since 2003, and then uh, every day, every passing.
So you have been aiming at the governorship seat since 2003,
Yeah,
right?
that's 22
And
years
that
ago.
is about 22 years. Are you not becoming a Methuselah in contest?
No, I'm not. I'm not saying I started.
If you have been contesting for 22 years now,
I've not been contesting
according
for
to
20.
what you said,
I've not been contesting for 22 years.
if you have been aiming at that seat since 2003, that's 22 years ago,
Yes, I
and you are still thinking of becoming a governor, are you not becoming a Methuselah in contest?
no, like that was when I knew uh, I have a covenant to be governor to transform Osun State, and every day since then
Okay.
I've been working towards realizing that covenant, and
That
towards
vision.
liberating our people from dishonesty, from corruption, from the thieves.
Okay, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. So if I may now ask you now, if we look at it, you've written letters, you've always, been a very focal person against the governments that we have had. I could remember during the Itola, you wrote a letter where you were talking about the reason to convert the Osun State College of Education, Ilesha, to University of Ilesha, which we have now. You have also written the present government on the need to convert, the Wesley Gid Ilesha, the General Hospital in Ilesha, to teaching hospital, which has been converted. So many people will now ask you that, is it that you are doing all this just to, be popular, or what exactly is the reason behind some of these moves? Is it just for you to criticize, or you have some plans for some of these institutions that you have talked about in the past?
Well, all of those letters are just like a tip of the iceberg out of the things I think should be happening in Osun State. And unfortunately, um, people steal your idea. It's been a while since my idea has been stolen in Osun State. Like, I was the first person ever to compose an anthem for Osun State in 2002. That was when BC Akande was still the governor, right? And then after Akande lost re-election, I presented it to the government of former Governor Oyinlola, and all I got, I mean, I got encouragement from some offices, but largely I got discouragement. In fact, some police officers in the government secretariat were even making like some doing some mockery. Like, I mean, who do you think you are that you want to compose an anthem for Osun State? And then I kept trying and trying because I believe it was a gift from me to the state. And each time I went to the government house, then to the government secretariat, I used to see people who came to beg for contracts, who came to beg for money. I mean, probably because they've done something for the governor when he was campaigning. But here is this little boy trying to give a gift to the state, and they won't even allow you see the governor because they think the governor is God or what. And then I kept trying until Yilola was kicked out of office because he stole 3.5 years that didn't belong to him. I mean, and then Aregbesola came in, and some of the people who knew about my visit to this government house during Yilola, I mean, Aregbesola was still very high spirited then, and then they just brought an anthem from the old action group, the anthem they used to sing for Awolowo then, and they called it Osun State anthem. And I have an anthem that is very beautiful, that is far better than what they call Osun State anthem right now. The Osun State anthem, the so-called Osun State anthem, does not even have the name Osun in it, and it's because Aregbesola was still emotional about whatever they were doing together with Tinubu. And if you know the song Tinubu supporters sing for Tinubu, it is the same tune with the so-called Osun State anthem. They are just emotional, they just run everything like their family business, But I mean, so they stole my idea in that.
Some people are saying that anthem, sorry if I may butt in, sir. Some people are saying that anthem has been right from the old Western region.
Yeah.
I mean, the
It was a
anthem
party
that we are
anthem.
using
It
now.
was an Awolowo anthem. Probably if someone
Yes.
probably if someone like Ladoke
So maybe it
Akintola,
doesn't have much connection with Tinubu.
I mean, Tinubu is trying to position himself like the successor of Awo in the political space. I mean, that's not my business.
Okay.
Yeah, but everything is connected. So that Osun State anthem is about Awolowo and Tinubu. According to that was I know how emotional Aregbesola was whenever anything that involves Tinubu or Awolowo is being talked about. So it's all about politics. I mean, they just imported something. What does Aregbesola know about music? He did not even appoint. I was waiting for him to appoint commissioners so we could follow due process and present what we've done. Then the anthem I composed was more than 6 years old then. And then all of a sudden, my friends told me, Aregbesola has introduced an anthem that they don't think your anthem will make it again. I mean, that's by the way. Let's fast forward to the conversion of the Osun State College of Education in Ilesha to a university. People have been clamoring, they want university in Ilesha, blah, 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 blah. And then there was a time at the Ilesha Expressway that they even put a signpost there that the Imperial University of Ijeshaland, because the who's in Ijeshaland really wanted the university to be sited in Ilesha and all of that. So people have been asking all of the former administrations come and convert Osun College in Ilesha to a university and all of that, and they've not been listened to. And up to the point of me writing my letter, there was no single dualized road in Ilesha, in the city of Ilesha. That's in the entire Yoruba land. Sometimes ago, a city that looked most organized in terms of the arrangement of the streets. And now in 2021, when I wrote my letter, there was no dualized road except the road, the entrance of the former Osun State College of Education. That was the only dualized road in Ilesha. And then I was like, immediately, Seyi Makinde paid off Oyetola from Lautech and detached Osun State from the ownership of Lautech. And then Oyetola felt probably they wanted to steal some money for the election. He felt the way they could spend money was to do an overhead bridge at a place where probably there was no need for an overhead bridge, just to imitate Aregbesola, who did a number of overhead bridges. So he was adamant. I mean, it was we all knew how it. The argument between the data boys of APC and PDP back then. So he got the money from a university, did not invest it to buy MRI machines, CT scan in the whole of Osun State. I'm talking with medical doctors in Osun State. I'm talking with a lot of professionals. I'm talking with professors in Obafemi Awolowo University. I'm talking with professors in Osun State University. I'm talking with professors in University of Ilesha. I'm talking with lecturers in different polytechnics in Osun State. And
for your ambition, right?
I mean,
your ambition, right?
I won't tell you exactly what we are talking about. These guys will be shocked next year.
Let me ask you, I want to say this. Sorry.
Okay.
I need to say this before you leave that point. Then you talk about the data not being developed. You talk about a lot of rules, not good, no realized rules, no this and that. Somebody will say, look here, you have a governor for 8 years from Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you think should be responsible for the development of the community?
So,
the administration did not think that it was necessary to develop it.
Yes.
So, what do you think should be doing for that?
So, number one, I don't think Aregbesola is from Ilesha. Aregbesola is from a blend of Akoko and Kogi State. He's not from Ilesha.
Aregbesola says he's from Ilesha.
He says he's from Ilesha because people accept.
His mom even died in Ilesha. He has continued to say that he's an Ilesha man.
Aregbesola is not from Ilesha. Who is his uncle? Who is his cousin? Who is his niece, his nephew in Ijesha land? You should let us know.
And those ones necessary. It said.
Okay, for example, I can.
In fact, you Ijesha people agree that he was an Ijesha man.
Aregbesola is not from Ilesha.
When he was contested.
And Ijesha man has never been a governor. Aregbesola is not from Ijesha. He only speaks Ijesha, maybe because his mother lived in Ilesha. And then the only person who has been closest to the government offices in Ijesha is our present Owobokun, His Imperial Majesty of Astrop.
He was the deputy governor.
Yeah, he was the deputy governor. There has never been any time. There may be Erelu Olushola Obada, was also a deputy governor. Aregbesola is not from Ilesha, so Ilesha has never been governor. But let's assume Aregbesola was even from Ilesha. I am of the opinion that because you are from a particular place does not mean you should engage in nepotism, that you should only do things at places, at your place of origin. And in that regard, I'm going to if Aregbesola was from Ilesha and Ilesha was like that, the way people are saying for 8 years, I will probably commend him. Not because he didn't do enough for Ilesha. Of course, I believe he didn't do much for Ilesha. But because he did not say because I'm from Ilesha and then all of those things he did in Oshogbo and every other place, he just concentrated them on Ilesha alone. I believe he should have done more for Ilesha, of course, even if he was not from Ilesha. Unlike Adeleke, who is doing everything. Let's go back to my letter. So now.
I'm not going to go back to your letter, but I want you to talk about the flyover that you are talking about.
So
Oyetola built just one.
Yes, Oyetola built the flyover.
Now 3 flyovers are under construction in Osun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these guys probably are stealing money with those projects they are doing. Okay, now when you go to before I go to what I feel they are doing wrong with flyover roads and all of that. I wanted to tell you how people stole my ideas. I mean, let me just take some few seconds to.
Okay, continue that.
Yeah.
Mind on that.
So on when Oyetola decided to use LAUTECH money for flyover, then we shouted, like we started crying out using social media, and nobody was. I mean, some people were seeing it, nobody was talking about it. Then I decided to take a bold step, and then because he was desperate to win a second term, and I knew if I wrote an open letter, he's likely going to do it. So on the 1st of January 2021, I wrote him a letter, and then the letter went to the appropriate places in the Ijesha land, and they analyzed it. They spoke with the governor, and he approved the conversion of Osun State College of Education to a university. So I wrote the letter that created Osun State University of Ilesha. Unfortunately, I mean, nobody even acknowledged my efforts. They knew my letter.
You know, some people believe that it was an agitation of Ijesha people.
No.
And it's not only one person.
Yeah, it's not only one person, but I was the major striker. I was the striker that scored the goal, but nobody is talking about that.
Okay.
So back to project. I believe they are stealing money with project because they are not equipping the universities. Now, Adeleke has said he converted the General Hospital in Ilesha to a teaching hospital complex. And this is an hospital that does not even have a digital X-ray, that does not have digital labs. In the whole of Osun State, there is no state-owned medical facility that has a CT scan. There is no state-owned. I mean, if you don't even have, the last time I appeared on your program, I told you about it, and nothing has happened. That's 3 years ago. Nothing has happened. There is no CT scan in Osun State. Adeleke has not bought a single CT scan and is building bridges. Do you want to use the bridges to transport corpses to mortuary? I mean, because we have very good doctors in Osun State, but they don't have equipment to work with, and nobody is talking about it. They are just building roads, and when they build the roads, after 2 weeks, the roads start. Everything starts falling apart. And these people are not doing anything. I mean, you talk about roads, talk about bridges. You don't build hospitals. The teachers in our public schools, they don't even have internet subscription to work with. There is no off-grid electricity supply in our schools. The labs, chemistry labs, physics labs are not running well. We don't have introductory technology facilities in our schools, and you are giving contrast to people who would get the money after giving you your cut, go and spend the money and buy expensive properties in Lagos, and they don't pay taxes to Osun State, and you refuse to build the children of Osun State. Is that how to govern? I think they are just stealing with those projects.
Okay. Now let me now ask you, I have two other areas I want to question because of my time. And the first one is that your time you are looking on to see if you are going to be running for a position in the next election cycle, 2023 or 2027. And even you have, what are those things that you are bringing upon that will be different from what we have now? And how do you want to communicate those to different ages of immediate communities that have young people, elderly, children, and the civil servants, the entrepreneurs, the students, and others.
Okay, so I think the only thing that needs to be done is to make our working class productive. People from the age of 21 to 60. So what a government should do is to provide support and create appropriate policies to aid those within the age of 21 and 60 to be more productive. It is whatever productivity we get from that age bracket that will feed and support people from infant to 20 years and people above 60 years old. If you go around the states today, retired people are suffering. Some of them, if they don't have children in the US, in Canada, or elsewhere, they are living miserable lives. They can't afford their medications, they are in pain. Some of them cannot afford the common Panadol, common paracetamol. They can't afford to go for checkups. They don't have medical insurance. Some people, their pension for the past 20 years has just been like 20,000, 25,000 to survive for the whole month. In this present Nigeria. So the what I'm going to do is I am going to make funds available for SMEs and create training schemes for existing and aspiring entrepreneurs. Um, People who scale through those training schemes will be given grants and no interest loans based on how many people they can employ. In Osun State today, if we can empower just 200,000 SMEs with an average of 7 million naira each, nobody will be unemployed in Osun State. And it's possible. The loan Aregbesola borrowed back then from different sources is like triple of what we need to like do this kind of a program to support SMEs, and nobody will be unemployed in Osun State. But they used everything to construct roads. The roads they even constructed, they could not do proper road marking, no road signs, no speed limit. Nonsense. And a lot of incomplete projects that bushes are now growing on places that were cleared for roads. Wastefulness. So what I'm going to do differently is I will provide funds and technical support for SMEs, and through that we can employ. The government cannot employ everybody. Government employees in Osun State as at today, they are not up to 80,000. Combine both federal, local government, and state government, and the state has more than 4 million people. Out of the 4 million people, at least 2,400 are supposed to be in the working class. So the state government cannot employ 2,400 people. So out of the 2.4 million rather, sorry. Probably out of 2.4 million people in Osun State who are supposed to be productive, less than 250, less than 10% are productive. And it's a very, very sad situation. So I'm going to enhance productivity by funding and training the working class. And then the people, senior citizens who are 60 years and above, can just enjoy their retirement. We give them stipends. It's not bad if we give every retiree in Osun State at least 150,000 naira every month. And then it's not bad if we give bursary.
How do you want to generate this fund? How do you want to generate this fund?
The funds are there.
Or are you going to ensure that your government is focusing on all this alone, leaving other critical sectors?
Okay, for example, if you see someone who is creative and you take him to the highway, if you tell him what do you see, someone who is not creative will tell you, I see the woods, I see bush. If you take someone who is creative to the same place, he will tell you, I see a very large farm that can generate millions of dollars. We have arable land everywhere in Osun State. And God has blessed. Okay, right now we say some countries are rich, some countries are poor. How did the rich countries start off? They started from agriculture, and then they started building generational wealth, and that's why they are what they are today. So God gave land to everybody. God gave water to everybody. So why won't we be able to use it? They used the same thing to build places like Cocoa House, the University of Ife, and all of that. I mean, why are we not flowing with the modern trend for development? So we would invest heavily in agriculture. Recently, uh, Governor Adeleke said he bought some tractors, and then I guess when they brought the
Yes.
tractors, they now discover there is nothing the tractors is going. They didn't have tools that the tractors will drive, and then they are not talking about, because sometimes the tools are even more expensive than the tractors, because they are not educated, they are illiterate. So, and now nobody is using any tractor, because the tractor, they are not going to be using it to do Uber. So they bought the tractors, they went to do photo shoots in Germany, and now where are the tractors? I mean, these guys need to go, because they have
So,
continued to fail.
lastly,
Okay, I want you to land on that because of our time. Please, can you land on that thought? You were talking about something.
We are going to generate wealth using agriculture, and then we will not have to wait to beg the federal government for allocation before we can run the state, because we know how to do it.
Lastly, I want to ask you, what is the structure of your party like in Osun? And then what message are you sending to the people to see your party as an alternative, as a credible alternative?
Um, our party is well structured, and then we are meeting people in the grassroots, in the villages. We are meeting with professionals in the cities, and we are getting positive feedbacks. And very soon, people are going to see some unusual waves, because 2026, 2027, it's not going to be business as usual, because uh, we are going to use Osun State as a model for other people to know that AAC is here to stay. The AAC is ready to take over Aso Rock, and we are starting that with Osun State in 2026, so that people who probably might think, oh, Showore is an activist, by the time Showore wins Osun State for AAC, then it can boost the morale of people who have probably been sitting on the fence or who have been passive. And in 2027, we can kick Tinubu out of Aso Rock, and then inaugurate Showore as the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we are working hard, and very soon people are going to start to see the results.
Thank you so much. I will believe that that very soon will be so soon, so that at least a party and then politics is about optics. It's about what people can see and what people can hear about, and that is what we call policy. And I want to appreciate you, Engineer Busuyi Ayowole, for joining us this afternoon.
It's your birthday.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. So thank you. And that note, I want to say thank you for being part of today's show. My name is Jare Tiamiyu. Bye for now.